Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on yet another beautiful day in Syracuse. We are here to announce that we have started deploying our street quality identification device with ARGO Labs. You will hear from the head of ARGO Labs shortly to talk you through some of the details of this program. But as all of you know, the declining state of our infrastructure in the city of Syracuse has been an extraordinary challenge that we, and I in particular, have been talking about for a number of years. But rather than just simply talking about it, we decided to become proactive. And when we were given the grant to start an innovation team with Bloomberg Philanthropies, this was the first area which I asked them to concentrate on, which is to say, how can we improve our infrastructure at a time of declining resources, yet an explosion in technology? And as you have heard us talk about over the past 3 or 4 months, we have unveiled a number of, relatively speaking, low-cost technological answers to these problems that are going to help us use data to invest our resources in a way that's going to extend the life of our infrastructure and help us maintain it in a much more systematic and proactive way than we have been able to do before. So we were able to search out ARGO Labs and the street quality identification device through the work of our innovation team and partner with them. They have already started implementing this technology in the city of Syracuse. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Varun, who's going to talk about the particulars of this so that you can hear firsthand about how the technology works and why it makes sense for us to use that. So, thank you. Varun, you want to come on up?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor.
Sure.
I'd like to thank Mayor and the city, especially the innovation team and DPW for helping us test out street quality identification device, also known as SQUID. So SQUID works by using a very low-cost computer. It's called the Raspberry Pi, which is a $35 computer. We designed a few sensors that sit on top of the computer. So really, the device, it takes a picture of the street every second and also combines that with accelerometer data, which measures the ride quality. And so you have a more complete way of viewing street quality across the city. And so the hope is to make better decisions when you have this kind of data and not only be responsive, but also enter a region where you can be proactive about street quality. So we're very excited to be working with the city.
Thank you. So these devices will be attached to the back of DPW trucks and will drive throughout the city and cover the entire street grid, and we'll be sending data back continuously, both data and pictures, that will then be utilized to make decisions about investments and where we're seeing the streets that are most in need of repair, where the repairs are that we can do most efficiently before they become crisis. So we're very pleased with this. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions or pass it off to the experts to answer any detailed questions that any of you may have.
So what is the cost to the city?
It is, relatively speaking, very low cost. The particulars I'm not sure of. Adria, you know the particulars? $3,000 for each device? 3,000. And just one. Yep.
So it determines whether streets are basically bumpy? I mean, you're not looking for big potholes with this, are you?
We are actually, big potholes, small potholes. But the idea is that after you go through the grid once, then you can have a systematic way of addressing the big potholes. And then, hopefully, once you get that, not hopefully, then once you get those under control, you can start looking at where the smaller potholes are to address those before they become bigger potholes.
Does it save the data so if it goes back over a street or remember if there was
I'm assuming.
Yeah, so it does save the data both through the device and also streams it to the cloud. And so you do have this notion of a history where you can look at a city. So if you do multiple surveys, you can see how the street has degraded over time. And because it's low cost, you can do these surveys in a reusable manner across the city.
Now, are they the trucks just out on the regular routes or just
Correct.
going and driving around?
Correct. Yep.
So there's no strategy as far as where you're going to start using this? Like do the north side first and then?
I think, we took a test area first to make sure that the technology and the trucks worked.
Yeah, that's right. And the testing's going very well. And this can be done, Ellen, efficiently enough that we can cover the entire city in about a week's time. So it can be done quickly, and it can be done really either way. We can put these on trucks that are out there going about their normal work, or it can be done in such a way that we drive certain areas specifically to get a more, a more targeted look at different neighborhoods. So it can be done either way.
Because the other part of what we're going to use this for too is we are in the process of implementing or exploring new ways to take care of our streets rather than the traditional very expensive mill and pave. So if there are other ways in the gamut, the full reconstruction mill and pave is very expensive, then there's slurry seal at the other end, there's micro paving and other kind of techniques. Where can we use those techniques on which streets that are going to extend the life of those streets? And this is the kind of data that can say, if you get these streets when they're between a 4 and a 6 with micro paving, you can extend the life of that street for another 5 to 10 years. So that you don't have to mill and pave the entire 400 miles of streets in the city of Syracuse, because that just simply, given the resources that we have, is not going to be able to happen.
So right now you just guess and just.
I think it's right now what I would call it is more of a subjective sense from the Department of Public Works with some of the input of others who are working on these streets every day. And that's not in any way to undercut what their sense of it is, but you always like that subjective sense of it to be backed up by objective data.
What's the time frame? So this first one will be installed starting today?
We've already installed one, and we've been running through a test route. So they're going to be in the next month, I think, it is going to be fully functional. We believe.
So it'll be, it's already installed and it should be going through a testing phase and it'll be up and running by the end of the month?
I believe by the end of the month.
It's essentially up and running now, and so what we need to figure out is basically how do we want to handle the deployment of this, the timing. Obviously the weather's starting to cooperate with us now, so it gives us that opportunity. And Varun will walk through how the installation is done.
There's one now and then depending upon there's a possibility of adding more.
If we think we need another, but right now we think, given the size of the city of Syracuse, that we only need one. So that's our plan for right now. Varun can also talk about, they first unveiled this in Brooklyn. And the advantage that we had when talking to ARGO Labs about working with us is that you had a street grid that's bigger than Brooklyn, but obviously not as big as the entire New York City, so that you can really start to look at this device and this technology and bring it up to scale.
Are you going to have to train anyone to analyze the data, or is it pretty obvious?
There's always training, Ellen, and we already have been and will be in cross-training people on using the data and using the machine and what does it mean, and then how to take the data use that to make decisions.
So the first data-driven decision could maybe be next year's budget, or?
Sure, absolutely.